when you're working with markers, you want to use paper that has a smooth texture. Now, we've had a video about paper before, and you guys know I like a paper with texture when I'm using my color pencils. The texture is either called tooth or it's called vellum, and this paper here that I have here today is very smooth, so that the tips of your markers, let me grab one, so that the points and the tips don't get chewed up by the tooth of your paper, and so that the marker will just glide effortlessly across your paper. Okay, so this paper here right now I think is my favorite of these two. I'll just show you the one. Ugh. And it's this brand right here. It's a Hammermill. It's made by International Paper, which is the same brand as the color pencil paper. And it's for color copy digital cover is what it's called. It's 80-pound cover, 100 brightness. It comes with 250 sheets, 8.5 by 11. It has a bit of a matte coating instead of a shiny coating, which is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want some sort of glare going on my coloring. So right now, as I've been testing it, this has been my favorite. What I like about it is it seems like I can put layer upon layer upon layer of the ink from the markers on it, and it just keeps accepting the marker, and you can keep layering and layering. So right now, this is what I'm liking, but like I said, I haven't finished my testing yet, so if you can wait to purchase your paper, then wait while I keep doing my testing. And then I always double up. You know, you always save, because when you start putting tons of layer of ink down it, no matter what kind of paper you have, it's always going to leak through, it seems. So I always double up my paper just to be safe, to protect surfaces below or another coloring page below, whatever it is. I don't know how many of you have the Chameleon markers. I was given this small set here of 5 to test out, and I have some issues with the Chameleon markers, one of which is just how huge they are, and they're kind of hard for me to work with because they are so huge. But the idea behind the Chameleon marker is that it's an alcohol marker with a brush tip and a bullet tip and a colorless blender chamber. So it's kind of like 2 markers in one. Colorless marker that you can't really use other than for the Chameleon markers, and a 2-ended marker. So what you do with these, basically you have your brush tip and you have the colorless blender chamber, which you pull off like that and it uncaps the chamber. And then inside here, you just kiss the 2 together and you count to whatever you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it transfers the colorless blender stuff from here to the tip. And you can see now, hopefully, the tip is a little lighter than the rest of the pen. Hopefully you can see some of that. And then, of course, you can always go on Chameleon's website. They have all this demonstrated there. I just wanted to show you how these markers work in my studio in real life. And then when you go to apply it, the light comes out first and then it goes to the darker tone. And it didn't do much of the light on that because all I did was count to 10. If I had counted to 20 or whatever, more would have transferred. Also, another thing that helps is instead of holding it this way, if I had held the marker this way using gravity, more of the toner would have more of the colorless toner would have transferred down just because gravity would have helped. So that's how it works. So it's not really like a mystery or anything, or it's not magic or anything. It's just a colorless toner and a regular alcohol marker. That's how the Chameleons work. And then you buy them in these sets of 5, or you can buy them in even bigger sets, and they are kind of pricey. So that's how the Chameleon markers work. They are a big learning curve, and when I first got them, I was a little, discouraged because of how hard they were to work with. I wanted them to be as easy as what their videos made them look. And if you have like a round thing or something, it's kind of a trick to get the gradient to travel the way you want it to travel and not run out too fast. So you need to practice. They're really fun once you've got practice. And then I also felt like the colors they give you in the set, like if you just bought 5, I felt like you're kind of limited. There wasn't much you could do with just these 5 that they sent me. I you know, it couldn't really do a flower because there wasn't anything to do a leaf or anything. So I don't know. I felt sort of limited. So that was my issues with the Chameleons. One thing I don't like about these markers is their tiny little brush tip. And it sort of starts to fray up the more you use it. But I've just decided, and I don't know if this is true, this is Jennifer's theory, okay? I think it kind of holds the toner a little bit more evenly. And the caps don't, why do people not make a marker that the cap can go on the end? That's really like frustrating to me. Oh, why don't they stack? Oh, I'm sorry. I lose caps when they don't do that. And so they're not the only brand that has done that to me. But why? So anyway, and they are really big. Like when you're coloring with such a big marker, look at that.
Janelle had said they look like they might be uncomfortable to hold. Are they? How are they comfort-wise?
They're really big. Look at when you're coloring. Look at that. You're wielding this giant tool. When you take it apart, of course, and you're coloring with just this end, and say you've got the, if you've got the colorless blender off because you're doing your touch. So if I was actually coloring with them, let me show you. What I'd have to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, color. Are you guys bored yet? Okay, here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here we go again. And you have to sort of go, oh wait, I didn't match that. Back up. Got it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. You get the idea? That's how you color with Chameleon markers. And then when you're done, you have to color it out to make sure you go back to the basic tone. And then you put it back together again and hope you didn't lose the cap because it doesn't stack. I'm sorry, Chameleon. It's really fun. But don't buy them unless they're on a good sale. I did end up buying a few more because I went to my favorite art store, Blick Art Supplies, and they had them on an amazing clearance. So I did buy some more because they are kind of fun, but...
That's just if you're wanting to do that blending, right?
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, they're a marker.
They're just a marker. Like, if you wanted to just pick it up and start drawing, I could. Being who I am, I did a whole bunch of research to find out there's got to be other ways to do it. Is this some fancy colorless toner? Is this the only way to do this? And yeah, I found out, no, this isn't the only way to do it. So for instance, if you have Prismacolors or any other kind of alcohol marker, you can do the same technique. All you need is their colorless blender. So I have a small set of Prismacolor markers. So here's their pink. And one of the things I hate about the Prismacolor markers is how hard it is to get their caps off. And they kind of sharp or something right here, so it's a pain. Okay, so we're gonna get the caps off. So here's their colorless blender and a marker, and you're gonna do the same thing, kiss them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Same deal, transfers that colorless toner into the tip, and what I do is I look, where is that whitish tip? And that's the tip that I sort of angle it down right onto my paper, and away you go. Now, did you see how fast that went out? See, I'm gonna do a little better job here for you guys. If you get some on your colorless toner tip, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Because you can rub it out, and if it stains your colorless toner tip, not a big deal. Doesn't hurt it at all. Okay, I'm doing a better job for you this time. There, it's getting really good and light colored now. So let's see if we do better here. Okay, so here we'd have to clean this tip out. And once the tip goes white, or not white, but once it colors clean, then it's good to go again, whether your tip is white or not. There, it went white though, so that's good. Cap it. Okay, so let me show you the tip. It's nice and light. And then we should be able to get that gradient and go from a light into the dark. And there, see, I did a better job for you the second time. That's better. So yes, you can get that same chameleon effect with other markers. If the brand comes with a colorless blender, you probably want to stick with their colorless blender. Just a little heads up, because they're kind of made to work together. You could probably cross brands, but if I were you and you've invested money in a nice brand, I would probably stick with their brand of colorless blender. Okay, I don't know how many of you have seen this trick, but this is amazing. If you guys want to do magic for your friend, I went to my son's elementary school class and performed this magic trick, and I literally got oohs and ahs. It was so much fun. Okay, so this is my cheapo Cra-Z-Art, I think 50 cents a 10 pack of markers here, and I bought like 10 of these packs and went into their class and taught them this, taught them a tiny bit of color theory, and said go for it, and they had a blast. So if you ever have to go into a school class to teach art, this is such an awesome thing to do, because they were so impressed. It's the same idea as what I just showed you with the chameleon markers, only we're going to use 2 water-based markers. And we're going to use gravity again to transfer the color. Okay, so what you do is you go tip to tip again using gravity, and I've picked 2 colors that I know are going to look good together, yellow and red. You know, they're going to make a nice mix together. And then you I usually put the lightest on the bottom, and then you do your tip to tip I did the darkest on top, and you let gravity suck that dark color down into the tip of the yellow. And you can count to 10. Usually I'll count just so I know how much ink I've transferred. And then you can see that you've got the red ink loaded now into the tip of the yellow. And then this is the magic part that they all just oohed and awed over. It was so much fun. And then you just lay that tip down and start coloring, and it goes from your red, and then it will gradiate to that pretty orange all the way into yellow. It's magic. Isn't that cool? Look how cool is that? All with your cheapo Cra-Z-Art markers. I mean, isn't that awesome? So I don't know how many of you knew you could do this with your Cra-Z-Art markers. You want to do water-based to water-based when you do this, or alcohol-based to alcohol-based. So what does that mean? That means pull out your Sharpies, everybody, and do the same thing. So here, let's see, I don't know if that's going to give us enough. Let's try those 2. On this shelf, I have my Sharpie markers. These are really old. Let's make sure they're still working. Okay, that light blue is kind of wimpy, but I think it'll work. So now we have 2 alcohol-based markers, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to transfer the dark blue by touching tip to tip down into the light blue. And if I was doing an actual coloring page, I would count so I knew how much ink I was transferring. And I'm not doing it this way, I'm doing it this way so that gravity is transferring that ink. And we're not going to be able to see it this time because the tip of that marker is so dark. But I can see it personally here. Barely, but I can see it. And then first you'll see the dark blue. The longer you hold the tips together, of course, the more ink you're going to transfer. And then it'll gradient to your light blue. So if I was coloring a really tiny thing, you only would need to touch the tips together for a tiny bit of time to get that gradient that you're after. But look how pretty. And there's that blue there that is almost not working anymore, the light blue. Look how pretty. Isn't that fun? So water-based marker to water-based marker, alcohol-based to alcohol-based, and you're good to go. Okay, we're going to do Crayola SuperTips. These are some of my absolute favorite ones to color with because they're just so inexpensive and so fun, and they come with so many different colors. Here we go. I'll just count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That shows up really good there on that tip. Now, if I was really good at handwriting, do I dare? Let's see if I can do it. I'll try signing my name. And here's my name now going to that fluorescent yellow. I can't sign my name today. But there you can see, you could use it for lettering. I signed my name so terrible. But there you can see, you can do it with lettering. If you have your Tombos, when you buy those 10 packs, it comes with your colorless blender. So now we can get this exact same look that the Chameleon does, because Chameleon is an alcohol-based marker, so that's the only difference. So we're going to do exactly what the Chameleon pen does. We're going to take our marker and load it with the colorless blender. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And it's just barely gone light. Hopefully I put enough on there. If not, we'll try it again here. And oh yeah, we got enough on there. And it was a short blend, but that's probably about all you would need if you were actually doing some coloring. If you were trying to do a gradient on a petal of a flower or something, that would be the perfect amount. You do the tip of the flower all the way down to the end. Or you can do tip to tip again, light to dark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's that dark. That dark really liked to travel into that light pen. Look at that.
So Tombos are water-based, right?
Yep. So usually when I'm doing this kind of coloring, I have a piece of paper that on the side, and I'll test the amount of time it took. So this one I would write 10 above it, and then I'll know if I hold it for 10, I'm going to get this much transfer. And then when I go to color on the other page, I'll say, well, this little petal I'm doing is a lot smaller than that amount of dark that I need, so I'll only hold it together for 5. And then that gives me the amount of time I need to touch the two pens together, and away I go. And because like you saw here, I held this together, these two together for 10, and got a very different effect here. This was 10 here, and this was 10 here. So it is a little bit of a learning curve, but not much. So if you just test it on a piece of paper and then go to your coloring page, you'll be good to go.
Janelle says, no, never seen with cheapish markers like Cra-Z or Crayolas. How are we just now finding out about this? Crayolas have been around for a million years.
I know. Why didn't we try this? The other thing that was fascinating to me is when I took these with the kids, I was so scared to try different color combinations. Like, I didn't try black at all at home. I was so scared to put black with anything. And of course the boys, that's the first color they reached for, was the blacks. And combining orange and black to see what would happen. And oh, they were so excited, and they were running up to me to show me, look at what I made. And it was so much fun, and it was just the most fun thing they had done. And they colored for a good 45 minutes straight, the boys even, and it was amazing. I mean, look at this color I'm getting out of these cheap junky markers. How cool. This just goes to prove my whole theory of it does not matter how much money you spend on markers, you can get beautiful coloring out of things.
Leslie asked, so they don't ruin your markers?
No! I mean, these are the very markers I took to the class, and they were not careful with these markers. I mean, they were careful. They're good kids, but they went to town. They were like mixing the oddest things together, and I just let them go. The only rule I told them was that the caps had to get back on the right markers. That's the only rule I gave them. And they were mixing the strangest things and coming up with the coolest combinations. Let's try a strange one. Let's embrace our 4th gradeness, shall we? I think it was 4th grade. Was it 4th grade when I did this with them, or was it 5th grade?
I think it was last 5th, yeah.
So here's a brown going down onto the blue. As long as you do water base to water base and alcohol base to alcohol base, if you break that rule, you're going to have a problem. Don't break that rule.
What will happen if you break it?
You'll ruin them.
Oh, it'll ruin the markers?
Yep. The alcohol will just go in and ruin that water-based marker. There's brown. Let's see what brown to blue looks like. And again, I'm working on this really smooth, pretty paper here. Wow, come on, where's the blue? I'm going to run out of paper. Okay, we're going to have to turn the corner. That brown really liked to go into that blue. Well, that's pretty too. See, I would never think to do that. We need to embrace. It's really fun to color with kids. If you haven't done that recently, you need to buy some really cheap supplies and color with kids, because they just make you realize how timid we are. They just go for it. They don't care, and they just, I'm going to do this. And you're like, why don't I do that? I really came away feeling almost ashamed of myself that I hadn't tried the black. And that was the first thing they did. And we're coming up with the coolest things. Like, I have never tried that. Why not? Oh, anyway. Isn't that pretty? Wow. So pretty.
Now everybody wants some Crayolas.
Some cheap markers, yeah. I'm telling you. I have a big bin that's right up on my top shelf there, that whenever my nieces and nephews, or I go to like a big family function, I take this big bin of these cheap markers, I show them this trick, and everyone goes, ooh, and then woo, off they go, and it's so much fun. So if you want to see it on a coloring page now? Okay, I'm going to pick a couple.
Mila says, my granddaughter comes over and we have a color day, and I teach her some of what I've learned.
Oh, she's going to love this. Even my son, the first time we tried this, at the time I think he was 18 or 19, he even came over and grabbed my markers and started trying it, because you can't resist it. It's so fun.
Yvonne says her granddaughter has her markers out now, going to town.
Oh, see? It's so inspiring. Okay, we're going to try crossing.
I got you down too far.
Okay, move back up. I'm going to do it in this petal, and hopefully I'm in the good place. We're going to try a weird combination. And I've got this really fluorescent yellow, and I've got this kind of mulberry pinky color. And I'm going to add it into this and we'll see what it does. Okay, but I'm not going to transfer too much because the petal I'm working in is kind of small. This is a free coloring page, just so you know, and the link to it is already in the description of this video if you want this one. I thought it would be a good one to practice this method because it has these petals that we could try all kinds of crazy color combinations and just go to town. So I'm going to transfer it. I'm doing it off screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't do too much because it's such a small petal. And I'm going to start down here. Is this a good spot, I hope?
Tammy wishes you would go live all day tomorrow.
All day. Wow, that would be fun, wouldn't it? So I'm going to start down here, kind of in the dark area, and go slow down, Jennifer. Slow down. Here's where it's changing to that pretty, ooh, it's making a really neat orange. Slow down. I can still see pink in the tip, so I know I've got more to go. So what I'm going to do is go back now with some of that and catch the little spots I missed. And maybe darken this up a bit because I still see pink and we need it to go to yellow by the time I get to the end here. Okay, blend that a little bit better. And here we go into the yellow. There, I got it to blend pretty good. So the trick there was to go really nice and slow. Watch the pink come out of that tip so that I knew, okay, I still have lots of pink, I better stay in the middle zone, and now I see it's turning yellow, I can move to the end. That worked really good to go nice and slow. Okay, and I had just a touch of pink still in the tip, so I went to my scratch paper on the side and cleaned it off. I'll pick 2 different colors here, green and blue.
Stephanie says she has one that's a little dried out. Do you think this will help with that?
Sure, and you can actually revitalize. Okay, there's 2 kinds of dried out with these kinds of markers. There's out of ink, out of toner, not toner, pigment. If it's out of pigment, there's not much you can do for a marker. But if you know there's still pigment in there, it's a relatively new marker and it's just gone dry, like you left a cap off or something, you can actually revitalize a marker, whether it's alcohol or water-based. So I've got blue loaded into here. I'm going to start low. Now this time it's problematic because I can't see the blue on the darker tip. So I'm just going to have to sort of feel it out here. The Frugal Crafter has some great videos on how to revitalize your markers. And on the water-based, she uses a glycerin type, a water and a glycerin mix to revitalize your markers. So you might want to go check that out. Okay, I don't think I actually ever got it to the real clean green on the end, but that still looks pretty to me. So I'm going to scribble it off. Oh no, I did. The cap isn't true to the green. That's the problem. Now my son, who is 12 now, he has also come up with another technique that is similar to this, but I can't show that to you. He wants to teach it to you guys. So I think, let's see, in February he gets a few weeks off. So you guys can look forward to having a guest. My son wants to come and show it to you guys. So in February you will learn a new coloring technique because he was so brave and tried things I would never try. And like I said, this coloring page is free and available on my website. There's a link there. And thanks for joining me, you guys. This was lots of fun. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I've been wanting to share this little technique with you guys for a while to show you how fun it is to perform magic with our inexpensive markers. That's really fun. I will probably be live on YouTube again here soon, so if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. And there's also that little notify bell you can hit on my YouTube channel that will notify you anytime I go live on YouTube, so you will know when I'm there. So thanks again for coming, you guys, and have a wonderful, blissful day. Bye-bye.